In this video, we are going to discuss about introduction of DNA into plant cells by vectorless method. Now this vectorless method, which is also known as direct gene transfer method, uses chemical or physical means to introduce the DNA into the plant cell. So if you are using a vector, then that is indirect gene transfer, and if you are not using a vector, then that is direct gene transfer method. Now this direct gene transfer method or vectorless method are species and genotype independent means of DNA delivery. Okay, for DNA to be delivered, okay, that phenomenon doesn't depend upon the species and the genotype of a particular organism. Okay, it is independent of that. Now let's have a look at chemical method. Now this chemical method involves the physicochemical uptake of the DNA. Now this chemical method is dependent upon the ability of the protoplast to uptake the foreign DNA from the surrounding solution. Okay, the chemical method depends upon the ability of the protoplast to uptake the foreign DNA from the surrounding solution. Now what is done in this method is that the isolated plasmid DNA is mixed with the protoplast in the presence of polyethylene glycol, okay, which is abbreviated as PEG. So this PEG is an important chemical for transforming the DNA, the plasmid DNA, into the protoplast. Okay, the isolated plasmid DNA is mixed with the protoplast in the presence of this polyethylene glycol. And this mixture of isolated plasmid and protoplast and PEG is incubated for 15 to 20 minutes, and after that the protoplast is cultured in the presence of appropriate selective agents. Okay, so you mix your DNA with the protoplast, you put PEG into it, you incubate for 15 to 20 minutes, and after that you culture those protoplast in the solution in the presence of the appropriate selective agents. And after that the protoplast are regenerated and the putative transgenic plants are further characterized for conformation. Okay, so that is how your chemical method works. Now let's discuss about physical methods. Now there are several physical methods which we are going to discuss about, and the first is liposome encapsidation. Now this liposome encapsidation method was developed to protect the foreign DNA during the transfer process. Okay, to protect the foreign DNA during the transfer process, the liposome encapsidation was developed. So what is happening is that the DNA, the target DNA, is being enclosed into the lipid vesicle. Then that thing penetrates into the protoplast. Then there is this enzyme lipase in your protoplast. Okay, the activity of the lipase will dissolve this lipid vesicle, and then the DNA will integrate into the host genome. Okay, so this is how this whole process works. The target DNA is enclosed into lipid vesicle, then that thing penetrates into the protoplast, and in the protoplast you have lipase which dissolves the lipid vesicle, and the DNA which is there then integrate into the host genome. Okay, so that is how this liposome encapsidation, the physical method of transferring DNA in case of plant cell, works. Now the second physical method which we have is electroporation. Now this electroporation method involves the creation of pores into the cell membrane by using electric pulses of high field strength. Okay, you use electric pulses of high field strength, and that results into the formation of pores into the cell membrane, and that is how this electroporation method is carried out. Now if DNA in the buffer solution is present at a sufficient concentration, then that DNA will be taken up through the pores by the cell. Okay, so you have to make sure that enough DNA is present in your buffer solution while doing electroporation. Okay, so if the DNA is there in the sufficient quantity, then through the pores, the DNA will be taken up by the cell. Now this plant cell electroporation utilizes protoplast, because if thick plant cell wall is there, then this thick plant cell wall will restrict the macromolecule movement. And protoplast is the cell which don't have cell wall. Okay, you remove the cell wall from the cell, and that is how your protoplast is formed in case of plant cells, because plant cells have cell wall. So protoplast is that plant cell which don't have cell wall, and we use protoplast. Why? Because if cell wall is there, then it is a thick cell wall, then it will restrict the macromolecule movement, and that will not be a good thing for the experiment. So that is the reason why during plant cell electroporation we use protoplast. Okay, so how this process works? Well, there is an electroporation cuvette. In that you have protoplast with DNA, and that thing is placed between the electrodes, and then electric current is applied, and that is how electric pulses are applied to the protoplast with DNA in the electroporation cuvette. Now this short high voltage electric pulses results in the formation of transient micropores in the cell membranes, through which the DNA enter into the cell and then into the nucleus. Okay, the high voltage electric pulses results in the formation of transient micropores in the cell membrane, through which DNA enter into the cell and then into the nucleus. Now let's talk about microinjection. This is another physical method by which you can inject your DNA into the plant cell. Now the thing is that this microinjection is extensively used in case of animal cell, but it has a limited success with plant cell. And this thing is because of the fact that it is difficult to immobilize your protoplast. And the thing is that while you inject the DNA into the protoplast, then the tonoplast might damage. So it is very difficult to inject the DNA into the protoplast without damaging the tonoplast. Tonoplast is the thing that surrounds the plant cell vacuole. Okay, so for these reasons, the microinjection technique is extensively used in animal cells, but it have a limited success in case of plant cells. And at last you have this technique, particle bombardment. Now particle bombardment or microprojectile bombardment or biolistic transformation, okay, these three things are the same. And what happens in this process is that foreign DNA coated with high velocity gold particles or tungsten particles delivers your DNA to the plant cell. Okay, so this is what is happening in case of this technique. Foreign DNA is coated with high velocity gold particles or tungsten particles, and those things delivers the DNA into the plant cell. Now different approaches are being used to accelerate this particle, okay, the DNA coated with high velocity gold particle and tungsten particle. Okay, to accelerate this particle, different approaches are used in this technique. Now there are this particle gun accelerated particles, and this kind of particles penetrate deep into the tissue. Okay, the particles which are accelerated by particle gun, when they are used, okay, those kind of particles penetrate deep into the tissue. Now this technique is widely used, this particle bombardment method is widely used because it have the ability to deliver the foreign DNA into the regenerable cell or the tissues or the organs, irrespective of monocots or dicots. Okay, whether it is monocot or it is dicot, it does not depend on that. Okay, it has the ability to deliver the foreign DNA into these things, and that is the reason why it has wide applications. Okay, this process have a physical nature. Okay, it does not have any biological limitation for the actual DNA delivery, and that is the reason why this particle bombardment method is genotype independent. Okay, so that is the reason why this particle bombardment method is widely used. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.